My father taught me how to talk my way both out of and into almost every situation. He was a traveling salesman. He went across the country selling a wide variety of products, many of which are very obsolete in today's world. Here's the thing though. My dear old dad was so good at what he did that he kept making those sales well past their usefulness expiration date. He did it right up until the day that he died. Need someone to sell encyclopedia sets in the age of Wikipedia? He was your man. I don't have his proclivity towards sales. I tried selling mattresses in my early 20s and hated every single second of it. That doesn't mean that I didn't take an important life lesson from him, though. He had a personal mantra that I stick to this very day. Don't sell the product. Sell yourself. That's what keeps running through my mind as I'm standing on this creaky porch as the sun is setting and this damn rain keeps drenching me. Forget that you're wet and miserable and cold. Be ready to sell yourself. Not literally, of course. I'm not a prostitute. Sometimes it feels that way, but that's not what I'm saying. Thinking, whatever, I'm starting to confuse myself. A man-shaped shadow appears in the door window. Here we go. Time for the old razzle-dazzle. Razzle-dazzle? What am I, a 1920s magician? The door opens and the man that is there to greet me clearly doesn't want to be looking at me. The bags under his eyes tell me that he hasn't gotten much, if any, sleep recently. I decide to tone things down a bit. Going through my usual spiel with maximum enthusiasm would only aggravate the guy further. Hello there, Mr. Drysdale, is it? I greet the man warmly. I believe that I spoke to your wife about an hour ago. My name is Harry Holcomb, and I'm an exorcist for hire. Like I said, I didn't go into sales like my father did. I took more after my mother. Exorcist for hire, the man repeats slowly, his frown growing deeper. Isn't an exorcist a priest that yells at possessed people or something? A retort instantly comes to mind, but I choke it down. I want this man to pay me, after all. It's a more broad definition in my case, I tell him, keeping my voice light. You're thinking of how movies define them? Think of me more like a bouncer for the supernatural than someone that prays at demons. The expression on his face changes, and I internally wince as I realize I use the S word. There are a handful of words that will instantly make people think you're a fraud if you use them. Supernatural, ghost, monster, those kinds of things. If you say them, you're going to get looked at like you have a second head. What did you say your name is again? The man asks in an unfriendly tone. Before I can answer, a woman in a business suit steps into view next to him. She has a much less accusatory look to her. Stan, you heard his name the first time, she chides him. I'm so sorry, Mr. Holcomb. You have to forgive my husband. He seems to have forgotten that you're here to help our son. Come inside, the weather is awful. I'm Wanda Drysdale. We talked on the phone? The man named Stan steps out of the way, and I enter the kitchen. It's brightly lit and pleasant, while also managing to feel mind-numbingly generic. It's the same kind of kitchen that can be found in every single housing development. Sitting at the kitchen table is a young boy. He's about 6 or 7, 8 at the most. His brown hair is sticking out in every direction. It's obvious from his red eyes that he's been crying. I am going to need to speak to your son, I tell Wanda, cutting past the pleasantries. I open the flap of the messenger bag I have slung over my shoulder and produce a small stack of papers. While I'm doing that, would you mind filling these forms out? Oh, of course, she replies. What are they? There's a couple of liability waivers on top, and the contract to receive my services is under those. The pricing is in there as well. As she begins to open drawers in search of a pen, I cross over to the table and set my bag down on the tile floor. I smile at the kid as I remove my coat and put it over the back of one of the unused chairs, before sitting down across from him. Good evening, I say pleasantly. Oh, and let's not forget Happy Halloween. My name is Harry. What's yours? It's an unfortunate truth in my line of work that many of the cases I deal with revolve around children. There's a number of reasons for that, but the short version is that they attract more predators because they're more vulnerable than adults. I found that the best approach is to not treat children like, well, children. They understand a lot more than we give them credit for, and they appreciate someone that's willing to tell them the truth. At least something close to the truth. I do leave out some details because in a lot of cases, knowing the full truth would be a one-way ticket to lifelong therapy. The boy doesn't answer me. Instead, he continues to stare down at the table. I feel a twinge of sympathy. The kid has clearly been through some things. I'll tell you what, I say. Instead of telling me your name, how about I guess it? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Harry, there's no way that you can guess my name. There's like 1,000,000,000 billion names out there. Here's what you don't know about me, though. I am a really good guesser. I make a show of sitting back in my chair and crossing my arms. I narrow my eyes and rub my chin. Now, let's see here, I say slowly. Barnaby? Nah, too old-fashioned. Lucas? No, you don't have the ears of a Lucas. I know your name isn't Chad because your parents clearly love you a lot and nobody that loves a kid would name him Chad. I caught just the hint of a smile at the edges of the boy's mouth. Jamie? I continue. I can't believe that you're a Jamie. You're not a Jamie, right? What kind of name is that anyway? I think someone just misspelled James and decided to go with it. No, definitely not a Jamie. I pretend to come to a realization. Oh, of course. There's only one name that it could be. Here we go, I've got it. My final answer. Your name is Sean. The boy looks up in surprise. How did you guess? Sean asks. Like I said, I'm a great guesser, I answer. Oh, and I'm also a wizard. Really? I smile. Well, I wouldn't say that I'm a wizard. And your mom might have mentioned your name when we talked on the phone. I'm also a surprisingly bad guesser if we're telling the truth. I'll tell you what I really am, though. I really am here to help you. Sean looks back down. You can't help me. Nobody even believes me. I glance over at his parents. I don't think that's true, Sean. Your mom wouldn't have called me if she didn't believe you. And do you know why she called me? No, why? Because a few years ago I helped a friend of hers with a similar problem. I took care of that, and I'm going to take care of this. That's a promise. Okay. Sean hesitates before leaning in to whisper to me. I'm scared. I smile again. Hey, it's okay to be scared. I get scared all the time. Here, let me ask you a question. It's Halloween, right? What are you dressing up to go trick-or-treating as tonight? His face brightens. Optimus Prime. Oh, that's a good choice. Optimus Prime's great. You know, when he's fighting the Decepticons, he's just as scared as you or me. What makes him a hero is that he does things anyway. So when he gets scared, just think about what Optimus Prime would do. He's just a robot. You're an awesome kid. If he can do it, so can you. I pat him on the shoulder. Now, I've got a couple of questions for you that I need you to answer. It's about what's happening in your room. Don't worry, you don't have to go back up there until the bad thing is gone. I just have to know what I'm going to see in there so that I can kick its butt, okay? Sean nods. I can do that. I know you can. Okay, so, when did this start happening? He furrows his brow as he thinks about the question. It was 3 days ago. I remember because I stayed the night over at Connor's house the night before. Connor is a friend of yours? Yeah, my best friend. And what happened that first night? I heard some noises coming from under my bed. What kind of noises, Sean? It was like this clicking noise. It was like when you tap on a window, kind of. I nod. And have you seen it too, or have you just heard it? Sean visibly shivers. I saw it this afternoon when I was putting away my school stuff, right before I ran into Mom and Dad's room and they called you. And what did it look like? I don't know. He looks away. I think it has a pumpkin for a head. From Sean's body language, it's clear that he's beginning to retreat back inside of himself. With one last hopefully reassuring smile, I stop the questioning and stand up. Thank you, Sean, I say. You have been a huge help. I'm going to get everything back to normal, just you wait. I go over to his parents. They both have concerned looks on their faces. I can tell that his father doesn't fully believe him, but there's also a hint of doubt in his eyes. That's probably the best that I can hope for. I quickly flip through the papers that they have been signing and verify that they've all been properly signed. Okay then, I say as I fold the papers and put them in my pocket. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your coats and leave the house. It sounds like the rain is finally stopping and trick-or-treat is about to begin, right? Take him out and get a mountain of candy. Mr. Holcomb, Stan begins. I hold up a hand to stop him. There's no time for back and forth. The long and short of it is that you don't want to be here while I do what needs doing. It wouldn't be safe for any of you. Sean answered my questions, you filled out the paperwork, and now it's time for me to get to work. I can tell that they both want to argue, but to my surprise, they agree. With one last collective glance back at me, they go through a door into the garage. I walk over to the kitchen window and watch as they walk down the sidewalk out of view a few minutes later. I sigh in relief. I'm past the part of the job that I hate the most. Give me rampaging demons or angry ghosts any day. Just don't make me plaster a fake smile on my face and interact with people. The kid was fine, though. I don't mind kids. They haven't had their minds closed by the so-called real world yet, and they seem to instinctively know that strange and weird things really do exist. For a few minutes, the house is quiet. I open the refrigerator and search around for a moment before I find a bottle of beer. The cap isn't a twist-off, so I use the edge of the counter to pop it off. I toast the now-departed family before taking a drink. I grimace and look at the label. This is some bottom-of-the-barrel swill. Still better than no beer, though. The kid said the monster under his bed had a pumpkin head. No, I correct myself. A pumpkin for a head. There's a difference there, and it might be important. Maybe. Possibly. I go into the living room and look at the few Halloween items that are scattered around the otherwise mind-numbingly standard decor. Some entities can be rather festive, either being associated with holidays or taking the form of symbols of those holidays. It would be quite the coincidence for Mr. Bump in the Night to be sporting a pumpkin head and Halloween being the same day. I look at the grandfather clock standing against the far wall. It's just barely after 6. I rub my eyes. I'm already tired. Maybe I'll talk to my assistant Tabitha about changing my hours from always available to only before 3 p.m. Really give me time to get those early bird specials at Denny's and get to bed by 6 like the old man that I am. And make no mistake about it, I am an old man. If not in years, then certainly in mileage. A thump from upstairs brings me back to the task at hand. I take a swig of beer before setting it down on a nearby coffee table. No point in delaying the inevitable. I pick the beer back up and take another drink. Well, maybe just a tiny delay. I do this better when I'm not fully sober anyways. Keeps me loose. I'll keep telling myself that until it becomes true. This time for real. Up the stairs I go. I'm about halfway up when I realize that I'm leaving dirty footprints on the carpet covering the wood. I mentally shrug. There's a clause in the contract they signed that states that I'm not responsible for any mess created while I carry out my duties. It's a very broad clause that, technically, would stop me from being sued even if I level the entire house. And there it is, the door to the boy's bedroom. Even if I hadn't been told where it was when I originally spoke to his mother on the phone, it would have been easy to deduce which one it is. There are only 3 doors, and the other 2 are open. One leads to the master bedroom, and the second to the bathroom. Unless they're making their kid sleep in the shower, the single closed door is the one that I'm looking for. I put my ear up against the door and listen. It's quickly clear that there's no point to being stealthy, because I can't hear a damn thing through the wood. Either these particle doors are better at trapping sound than I think, or whatever's in there is keeping quiet. The third option is that the creature scaring the poor kid has left. Yeah, right. And rainbows shoot out of my ass whenever I take a crap. I go over my options and, coming to the decision that all of them are pretty terrible, I turn the handle and throw the door open hard. The good old direct approach. And there's nothing here. Nothing that I can see anyway. It's not very often that I burst into a room and find a demon jerking off or whatever. That's not how most nasty things operate. They like to remain out of sight until it's most advantageous for them to come out of the shadows. There doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary about the room itself. Just a typical kid's room. Twin bed, a dresser, a desk. Nothing in the closet but clothes and toys. I kneel down and look under the bed. Another strike. I stand back up and take a drink out of the beer bottle that I'm still holding. All of this could be the result of an overactive imagination, I suppose. But I'm really not getting that feeling. The boy was legitimately scared, and I've dealt with enough terrified kids to know the difference between I got freaked out by my own shadow and something is trying to eat my face. So let's look at this as logically as the alcohol is going to allow for. If you really did see something and it's not here, what does that mean? It means that the entity isn't tied to the room. It could be somewhere else in the house. I work my way through the rest of the building room by room. Bedrooms, bathrooms, family room, living room. I check every place that has the word room in its name. I come up empty. There's a pull cord for a hatch leading up into the attic, so I investigate up there too. Nothing up there but a lot of cobwebs and some exercise equipment that looks equal parts expensive and unused. The basement. I managed to locate the steps leading down to the lowest level, but the concrete room is only home to the usual suspects like a washer, dryer, and water heater. I return to the kitchen and idly tap the bottle on the corner of the counter as I think. Maybe it really has just left. I've never heard of anything that pops up for a single jump scare and then hits the road, especially one that set up that particular jump scare for 3 days. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's another option, and it's one that I really don't like. Instead of being attached to the house, the spectral asshole could be attached to the kid. Ah, damn it. It makes too much sense. Only the boy had heard the noises and seen the pumpkin-headed freak. And didn't he say that it started after he'd slept over at a friend's house? Something could have hitched its wagon to him there or someplace in between the houses. The only way to know for sure was to examine the kid, and I just sent him out with his parents to trick-or-treat a little over a half an hour ago. I have to find them. I grab my coat out of the kitchen and hurry over to the front door. I fling it open just in time to see 2 teenagers about to ring the doorbell. They're too old to be trick-or-treating, and their costumes are basically cheap masks and jeans. It's one of the most pathetic lacks of caring that I've ever seen. "Trick or treat," the taller of the 2 says lamely. I reach out and drop the now empty beer bottle into one of their bags. "This is for kids," I say as I push past them and close the door. "Go home and pray to get laid like normal teenagers. Here's a spoiler, you won't. But hope springs eternal, gentlemen." I don't know where the family went, but I did see them leave, and I know the general direction that they were headed in. These housing developments are mazes of side streets and houses that look the same, though. It's pretty obvious that I'm going to need something more concrete than they went that-a-way. I dig my phone out of my pocket and make a call. I'm really not in the mood to hear you gloat about finishing another case, Harry, the woman's voice answers. I hope you don't greet clients like that when they call, I replied dryly. This isn't a triumphant call request, Tabitha. This is an I need my assistant to do some work call. Her tone immediately changes. What's wrong, boss? I think whatever is tormenting this kid is attached to him in some way. He's out trick-or-treating with his family. I need to find them. You need a reading. It wasn't a question. I need a reading, I confirm. Then you're lucky you caught me before I left. I'll get my deck. Big plans for tonight? If you must know, I'm going to a party. Ah, costume party? There was a slight pause. Is there any other kind on Halloween? She was right, but I wasn't going to let her know that I recognized that. Hey, you never know. What are you dressing as? A nurse? A sexy nurse? She sniffs. Sexy nurses wish they showed off this much skin. So, what did you say the address for this party is? I didn't. Nice try, though. I have the cards. You know the drill. Face north. I do as I'm told. Alright, your human compass is facing north. In case you're curious, most people would say that tarot cards can't be used as a mystical Google Maps. Yeah, well, most people don't have the connection that I do with the other side. Tabitha is silent for a few moments. I fight down a wave of impatience. This sort of thing takes time, and trying to rush it will only make it take longer. I cross my arms and watch as the two teenagers I encountered at the door walk the opposite way down the street. I notice that they don't stop for candy at the next few houses before they turn at the first stop. Harry, Tabitha says slowly. Something's happening. What? I half ask, half demand. I just pulled 8 death cards from the deck in a row. Make that 9. 10. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, technically that could be a coincidence, right? A really major one, but... You are not understanding me. I'm not reshuffling and redrawing. There is only 1 death card in the entire deck, but I've just pulled 10 of them. Tabitha, that's not possible. I am fully aware of that, thank you, she snaps. And yet it's exactly what the hell is happening. I just flip through the deck and everything looks normal, but when I turn it upside down and draw from it, it's a death card. 11. 12. Stop there, I cut in. Don't draw a 13th one. Let's not tempt fate when it's already working overtime to do whatever this is. Yeah, you're right. I'm putting the deck down on the table. This means that I'm not going to be able to get you those directions, boss. What do... Wait, what the hell? Tabitha? I ask, my tone matching the panic in her own voice. What's happening? There's a card drawing itself out of the deck. Almost nothing can faze Tabitha, but she sounds scared now. I'm not touching it. It's moving on its own. And let me guess, it's... Yeah, Harry, it is. It's the 13th death card. From somewhere down the street to my left comes a loud scream. I have to go, I tell her. Don't go out tonight. Stay in the office and lock the doors. Don't answer the phone unless I'm the person calling. I hang up the phone before she can protest. I doubt that she would, though. She and I go way back, and she knows when she needs to do exactly what I tell her to do. Something much bigger than a monster under a child's bed is happening here. I start walking towards the scream. Within seconds, my walk has become a jog, and it's not long before that jog becomes a full run. I'm really glad that I decided to show up for this job in casual clothes rather than a suit. There's a small crowd gathering in front of the house at the end of the block. I hurry over to it and push my way past the people to find that a man is lying on the concrete driveway. Blood is pouring out of his mouth, and his body is convulsing as he coughs violently. There's a surprisingly loud clang as an object is flung from his mouth and lands next to him. I kneel down and pick it up. It glints in the fading light as I examine it closely. It's a rectangular razor blade. With each cough, the man ejects more of the blades out of his mouth. Despite the pain of the razors cutting his tongue and inside of his cheeks, though, his hands are grasping at his chest. I force him onto his back and tear open his button-up shirt. His skin is covered in gashes, and more of the blades are pushing up through them. The man's body heaves one last time. With a choked gasp, he falls silent. "Did anyone see what happened?" I demand, looking up at the crowd forming a circle around the body. Everyone stares back at me with dumbfounded looks on their faces. "Snap out of it, damn it," I roar at them. "Someone has to have seen what the hell happened to this man." "Dad just started coughing all of a sudden," a woman in her early 20s tells me in a quiet voice. "One minute he was passing out candy and the next... Oh, Jesus, there's so much blood." Passing out candy. Before he started coughing, was a boy dressed like Optimus Prime here? I ask. "I don't know," she responds with a voice that makes it very clear that she's quickly shutting down from the shock. "I think so. Yeah, one of the kids from the block. Sean Drysdale. But why?" Instead of answering her, I force my way back through the crowd and rush further down the sidewalk. Spitting up razor blades. That narrows down what I'm chasing after, pointing towards either a curse or a possession. Both options have been known to cause people around the orbit of the person affected to spit up foreign objects. I look at the costume people that I pass as I run. A witch, maybe? One of those could conjure up a curse or spirit that would fit the bill. If it is, it's going to be extremely hard to find them. It's not like modern-day witches dress in black robes and pointed hats. And hell, even if they did, it's Halloween. That's like finding a needle in a haystack made of witches. I reach the corner. The road stops in front of me, so the only option is to turn. The yard to my left is separated from the sidewalk with a row of tall bushes. I'm just beginning to go around them when I nearly trip on a shoe. Upon closer inspection, I realize that the shoe is attached to a foot, and that foot to a leg. I do not like where this is going. I go all the way around the corner and find 3 mutilated bodies lying on the concrete. Each of them has been mangled beyond recognition, with large chunks torn out of them and limbs ripped off. I've seen a lot of death in my day, but I still feel my stomach churn. No time for vomiting, though, because a few yards further down the street is standing the very obvious cause of these folks' deaths. Staring directly at me, its fur matted down with dark blood, is a werewolf. No mistaking it for anything else. The long jaws, curved black claws, and pointed ears make it quite clear what I'm looking at. It's big, too. At least 7 feet tall if it were to stand upright, and built like a steroid-infused linebacker. This isn't my first encounter with a lycanthrope. It is, however, my first encounter with one that looks like it could bench press 3 of me without working up a sweat. Not that werewolves sweat, they're like dogs. They pant to expel heat, and this is so very much not the time for canine fun facts. I'm staring at the werewolf, and it's staring right back at me. The detached analytical part of my brain is noting that this is a new bit of information about the thing attached to Sean Drysdale. Being able to create a werewolf is certainly a unique ability. Nothing comes to mind that can do both that and cause someone to drown in razor blades, but then again, most of my brain power is being spent crapping itself in fear. Maybe it won't find me interesting enough and decide to move on to someone else. The werewolf takes a step towards me. Well, damn it. One of the few things that can hurt this type of creature is silver. Too bad that I don't happen to be carrying any precious minerals on me at the moment. Come on, brain. Stop squealing like a frightened soprano on a roller coaster and come up with something. Good boy? I say as I take my best stab at it. The werewolf stops moving and stares at me with an odd expression on its face. I feel like this monster is judging me in my awful attempt. I give it an awkward smile and shrug. Best I could come up with on short notice. I apologize. Here it comes. No careful forward progression this time. I've now proven just how idiotic of a target I am, and it knows that there's no reason to hesitate. I instinctively turn and run in the opposite direction. There's a house directly in front of me, and not knowing what else to do, I run towards it. I can already hear the werewolf on my heels. There's no way that I can outrun it, but maybe I can do so just long enough to find a place to hide. Yeah, sure, think positive. It's always good to lie to yourself like that. As I approach the house, the front door opens. An elderly man steps outside with a bowl of candy in his hand. I internally wince as I realize that I'm going to have to move this 70-plus-year-old individual in a not-so-gentle manner. Gritting my teeth, I leap up onto the porch steps and shove him out of the way. As I pass through the doorway, I see him out of the corner of my eye as he lands in a wicker chair. At least I won't have a broken hip on my conscience today. I hear the wooden doorframe crack loudly as the werewolf slams into it almost immediately after I pass through it. One of its large claws lashes out and tears a piece off the back of my coat. I'm lucky that I'm not the one who lost a piece. I hurry through the entryway and down a short hallway. People are screaming nearby, but I ignore them and keep going. It will only take a few seconds before the creature forces itself into the house, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do before it catches back up to me. I reach the kitchen and find a woman standing there with a shocked look on her face. Presumably she's the wife of the man that I so valiantly knocked over. Silverware, I bark at her, belatedly realizing that my single word can't possibly make any sense without further context. Where is your silverware? She points wordlessly at a drawer. Is it real silver? I demand. The expression on her face changes. It immediately goes from scared to what can only be described as haughty snobbishness. Of course it's real silver, she tells me with no effort to hide her disdain. We wouldn't be caught dead with stainless steel. Thank God for pompous asses, I suppose. I fling open the drawer and extract 2 sharp knives. As I'm turning back towards the entryway, I notice their weight and pause. I heft them before looking at the woman. Hate to tell you, lady, but these are just silver-plated, I say. Fine for what I need them for, but not a great look for you at dinner parties. I leave her standing there with her mouth open as I return to the hallway. The werewolf is inside the house now, and it's standing at the other end of the passage as it tries to figure out how to get its bulk through it. It sees me and snaps its jaws eagerly. Hey there, big fella, I say as I draw close. I don't suppose you'd consider calling this a draw and just leaving, would you? One of its arms tries to grab me. I thought I was far enough away, but the tips of its nails come close to my face and I hastily back away. This thing has a surprisingly long wingspan. If it could just not eat people, it would have a bright future in basketball. The arm stays extended as it continues to reach for me. Obviously a show of force is in order. I cut one of its fingers with the knife. The werewolf lets out a small shriek and quickly pulls its hand back. That's what silver feels like to one of you, I tell it. I'm told it hurts like hell. You may have the size and the speed and the power, but I've got the eating utensils. Badass one-liners aren't really my forte. In response to my harsh culinary tool-based words, the werewolf turns its body sideways and digs its claws into the wall. It lunges forward and climbs along the wall itself, tearing chunks out of the wood and plaster as it moves. From this angle, its wide shoulders are no longer a hindrance, and it comes towards me with rage in its eyes. Why in the hell can't I keep my damn mouth shut? The chase is back on. I run through the kitchen, past the still stunned woman, and out through a sliding glass door. That glass door shatters into thousands of flying shards as the werewolf bursts through it. I cut hard to the right at the edge of the stone patio. The creature goes flying past me and into the side of a circular above-ground pool. The side collapses, and the water inside pours down on it as it tries to get back to its feet on the suddenly mud-covered turf. There's a gate in the fence. I collide hard with it and bounce backwards before realizing that I'm a damn fool and I have to pull, not push. The second attempt goes much smoother, and I allow myself to smile as I slam the gate shut and listen to the werewolf's howls of frustration grow more distant as I run. My hubris is immediately rewarded by the damn thing leaping over the fence and continuing the pursuit. "Oh, come the hell on!" I yell in equal parts fear and annoyance. I can actually smell it as it approaches. Its impromptu bath has given it that distinctive wet dog stench. Great. So now it's going to murder my olfactory senses before it does the same to the rest of me. I almost miss it due to the ode to werewolf being so strong, but there's another smell in the air as well. Someone nearby has a bonfire going. I risk a glance to one side and see the flickering of the light coming from around one of the houses. I adjust my direction to head straight for it. Silver weakness be damned. Everything is weak to being burned alive. Except for things like fire spirits. Yeah, not helpful, brain. Not helpful. I am really out of shape. If I was huffing and puffing anymore, I'd be blowing down damn pig houses. Again, brain. Not helpful. There's the bonfire. It's closer to a small barbecue than roaring flames, but it will have to do. I don't see anyone standing near it, which is good for this exact situation, but really bad for general safety reasons. I guess that I'm lucky that some people just aren't responsible? Come on, legs. We're almost there. Hold out for just a little bit longer. My luck holds out as I reach the fire. In one smooth motion, I drop a knife and scoop up a flaming branch. It's not a moment too soon, as the werewolf is so close that it has to skid to a stop to avoid being seared. "Well, what are you waiting for?" I yell at it. "I don't have all night." The werewolf bares its teeth, but it doesn't advance. Instead, it moves its eyes from the makeshift torch to the knife in my other hand. The only sound is the crackling of the bonfire and the evening breeze blowing through the trees. I'm not sure what's happening. It's clear that the beast isn't afraid. It knows that it can tear me limb from limb, and, if I'm being honest, I know that too. Everything I've done and will do in the near future is just delaying the inevitable. If I had time to prepare, it would be one thing, but at the moment, all that I have to work with is a piece of cutlery and a burning stick. To my absolute surprise, the werewolf waves one clawed hand at me dismissively and turns away. It bounds away into the night and disappears over a neighbor's fence. Moments later, I hear a woman scream. It seems like the monster has found someone else to play with. What the hell happened? Seriously, what the hell happened? When the answer comes to me, I can't decide if I should be proud or offended. The werewolf left because I was just too much trouble. Why waste its time with me and my attempts at self-preservation when there are plenty of more helpless people so close by? I have once again done what I do best. I've been annoying enough that another person has gotten away from me as fast as possible. It's my gift. It's my curse. No time to stand here reflecting on my personal attributes/failings. As much as I want to chase after the werewolf and demand that it take me seriously, I have to track down Sean Drysdale. He's at the center of all of this. If there's a key to stopping it, he's it. I leave the backyard and step onto the sidewalk before pausing. I'm all turned around, and these houses look the same. I have no idea which way to go. More screaming from my right. The werewolf exited stage left. This is something else. What now? I'm tired from the extended game of tag that I just played, so I walk towards the disturbance rather than run towards it. With all apologies to whoever is doing the screaming, I won't be much good to anyone if my legs are mush when I get there. This was supposed to be an easy job. Get in, say a Hail Mary or splash some holy water, maybe draw a few runes here or there, and get out. That's 99% of what I do, really. It might take a while to identify what I'm dealing with, but there's so much overlap in evil entity cures that exorcising them is often repetitive, even tedious. Lucky me to stumble upon that 1% where everything goes batshit crazy instead, and on Halloween of all nights. In my line of work, Halloween is the absolute worst. The more people believe in things, the more likely they are to be real. I know that sounds completely backwards, but the human mind is far more powerful than people realize. Thoughts aren't just contained inside of your skull. Mind over matter is a very real thing, although I'd amend that old saying to the more accurate imagination over matter. There's no time of the year that more people believe in dark and wicked things than Halloween. That belief strengthens the already existing entities while also creating brand new ones. A lot of what I handle throughout the rest of the year is fallout from Halloween. My pace slows before I come to a complete stop. An ugly thought has come to me. A monster under the bed, spitting up razor blades, a werewolf. These things don't have a connection when it comes to something else causing them, but there's a broader connection. They are all at least loosely associated with Halloween. Urban legends, scary stories, the kind of scary stories that kids tell each other. I close my eyes and swear profusely. It's not something that's attached itself to the kid. It's the kid himself. Up ahead of me is a community park. It's surrounded by tall hedges, and there are only a few lights that I can see. One of these lights is on a pole next to the entrance. Its pale glow is illuminating a very odd shape. Unless my eyes are playing tricks, its head is shaped an awful lot like a pumpkin. Nope, I am not doing this again. I turn down a side street and begin to make my way parallel to the park. I'm not an idiot. There has to be more than one way in and out, and there's no reason to confront a strange and likely hostile pumpkin-based asshole. I'll just walk all the way around, take a peek to see if Sean is in there, and be on my merry way. I'm so focused on my plan that I don't initially notice how empty this block is. There aren't any children trick-or-treating, or any frazzled parents walking with these children and wishing for the sweet mercy of death. It's lifeless. Lots of blood, though. Long streaks of it covering the streets, sidewalks, and yards. There are even smears of it on the houses themselves. Now the moaning starts. I sigh. Jesus Christ, it's zombies, isn't it? As if on cue, a large group of them emerge from the shadows and from behind the various objects that have been blocking them from view. Men, women, children, all age groups are represented in this mini horde of the undead. Flesh is peeling away from their muscle and bones, and their teeth are gnashing in anticipation of chewing on my sweet, sweet flesh. They move towards me with the speed of a tranquilized tortoise. If there were more of them, they could have potentially caused problems, but as things stand, I'm really not worried. In my experience, any creature that can be defeated with the power of a brisk power walk isn't something to fear. I move to the center of the road where there's the widest opening and simply keep moving forward. As I turn the corner, I glance back at the gathered group of zombies. They've stopped following me and have started to meander aimlessly around the street. Typical zombies, and yes, they do exist, will pursue you to the ends of the earth if they aren't distracted or killed. They have one-track minds like that. For them to simply cease their chase doesn't make any sense. Actually, wait, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Sean is creating this, albeit likely unknowingly. These aren't zombies so much as they are his interpretation and understanding of them. They aren't going to operate like the real thing. I feel my jaw tighten. They might not be real zombies, but judging by the size of the group, there's been a lot of lives lost. As I figured that there would be, there's a side entrance to the park. After a quick check to make sure that nothing dangerous is lurking around, I pass between the hedges and towards a small playground. Sean is sitting alone at the bottom of a slide. He's still wearing his Halloween costume, but there's blood staining the clothes, and the mask is on the ground next to him. He has his arms folded tightly against his chest. I approach him slowly. I don't know what to do. Over the years, I've seen and been through things, truly horrible things, but nothing quite like this. There's a quiet voice in the back of my head that's telling me that I need to do something unthinkable. Something that my soul will never be able to come back from. The only way to stop this madness is to do something permanent. I run a hand over my face. He's just a kid. I don't think, no, I know that I can't do that. Can I? It isn't a monster, is it? Sean asks as I come to a stop in front of him. There are dozens of answers that come to mind. Sweet lies to make him feel better and more cooperative. My father's old sales technique. Don't sell the product. Sell yourself. Instead of using any of those answers, I decide on the truth. No, Sean, I confirm quietly. There's no monster. He raises his head and looks up at me. Then, I'm the monster, he says. It isn't a question. I raise my hand and hesitate for just a moment before placing it onto his shoulder. You're not a monster. You couldn't have known what you were doing. Where are your parents, Sean? His head sinks back down as he points to the left. I turn to look in the direction he's indicating. At the far end of the playground, there's something moving, but it's too dark to see exactly what's happening. I get the feeling that I should be thankful for that. I kneel down in the dirt so that I'm on his level. Do you know how to stop doing this? I ask gently. Sean slowly shakes his head no. I close my eyes. I knew the answer to that question before I asked it, but I had hoped that I was wrong. Now that he's confirmed that he's not in control of any of this, that it's not something that he can turn on and off like the flick of a switch, I only know of one way to end this for sure. Please, please let there be another way. My soul may be bruised and battered, but it can't take something like this. I'm sorry, Sean whispers. I sit down on the ground, pull my knees up under my chin, and simply stare at him. He's just a sad and scared little boy, and I have to contemplate doing this. Because he's not just anything. He's special in the worst way possible. And because he was born this way, or made this way, or who the hell even knows why the universe would curse a child with this terrible burden, because he is what he is, he has to be put down like a rabid dog? It's not your fault, I tell him in an unconvincing tone. You didn't know that this was going to happen. What? He begins before sniffing loudly. What's wrong with me? It's not that there's anything wrong with you, it's... I take a moment to collect my thoughts. I'm going to be honest with you, Sean. I don't know exactly how you're doing all of this, Maybe you're some kind of psychic, or maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is that I know that you didn't mean to hurt those people. You're a good kid. This is all just some... I trail off, not knowing how to continue that thought. There's a long moment of silence. I still hurt people, Sean says finally. I look away. Yeah, you did. You're not alone, though. It's an unfortunate fact of life that we all hurt people before we're done. Not usually in the way that you did, but emotional pain can hurt even more than physical sometimes. The worst part is that it's usually the people we care about the most. So you've hurt people? I snort. Yeah, kid. I've hurt people. People that you care about? Yeah. People that I care about. The silence returns. The autumn night breeze has grown colder, and as it blows through the playground, it makes an odd whistling sound. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Sean shiver. I take off my coat and wrap it around his shoulders. Do you have any kids? He asks. No kids, I say. I was married years ago, and my wife and I talked about it, but it never happened. Why? I shake my head. It didn't work out between us. That whole hurting the people you love thing. I did some things that hurt her, said some things that I shouldn't have, and she left. Do you miss her? Sometimes. When I'm feeling lonely. Sean pulls the coat tighter over him. I feel lonely sometimes. You and me both, kid. Seems like it's happening more and more these days, too. I get scared sometimes, too. Like when I spent the night at Connor's house. It takes me a second to remember that he mentioned that sleepover earlier in the evening. What happened at his house? I ask. We watched a really scary movie. Except it wasn't a movie because it was real. Connor said what it was, but I can't remember what he said. A documentary, maybe? Yeah, that. It was about these haunted houses that people make for Halloween. They're really scary, and other people go inside them to get scared. It looks like people were getting cut and bleeding, and there were all these people dressed like monsters jumping out. I got really scared. That's the missing piece. Sean told me earlier that he started hearing the thing in his room after that sleepover. Sometimes people that are special like him first find out what they can do after experiencing something traumatic. Fear is one hell of an emotional trigger. A movie. All of this is happening because of a damn movie. Almost funny. I glance at Sean. No. Actually, it's not. It's not funny at all. You said you get scared too, he says. Back at my house, you told me that. I do, yeah, I confirm. What scares you? A lot of things. Some things scare me a little and some things scare me a lot. Just depends. He considers that for a moment. What scares you the most? I hear a scream from somewhere in the distance. It doesn't sound close, but it's back in the direction I came from. The results of Sean's powers must not come and go with him. They're more permanent than that. That is the really hard question, I tell him. Or at least it would have been before today. I think that what I'm most afraid of is doing something that I don't want to do. Sean tilts his head questioningly. If you don't want to do it, why can't you just not do it? I take a moment before I reply. It's not that simple. The thing that I don't want to do, it's the right thing to do. Or maybe not the right thing, but the necessary thing. It's really complicated. Do you think that you're going to do it? I put my head in my hands. I think I have to, Sean. But I don't know that I can.